Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to show you my harvest for the spring year already and the abundance I already got. I got these tomatoes. I even have more I'm going to show you, and you can see much towards the end of the season that they're pretty spent already. There's some that are still good, some are going bad, and I just compost in place. The ones that are blushing, as you can see here, I am just going to go ahead and harvest, like this one here, and have it mature inside. The cabbage worm and spider mites are getting to them, so I want to harvest them and use them before I lose them. So come along, I'm going to show you my harvest. So as you can see, I have so many tomatoes here. I get normally about, I want to say, every 4 or 5 days I'll get a plate about this many tomatoes, and this is the second round, so you can see how many tomatoes I can get. I did plant beefsteak. They succumbed to disease quite quickly, so they didn't work out too well. I did get a few.
This has been the most productive vineyard producing tomatoes. As you can tell, they're fairly diseased. It is June, so I think they outlived their 5-month life. The best tomatoes are Roma by far. If they have bug damage from cabbage worm or whatnot or disease, I toss them to the ground and let them compost there.
Some of them do have, I know this is a calcium deficiency, some rot, some blossom end rot. That is when there's calcium deficiencies. You should put an egg or something in the soil. I'm going to let the critters enjoy that and just have it compost in place on the grass actually. Probably mow it with a lawnmower, whatever that is, but you can see that they're pretty withered. They did really well. You can see others there that have I just tossed on the ground. This is my new grapevines I added in here. These tomatoes did not do well, but I did get some fruit from them. They're too diseased, so I pulled them out. You can see them leafing out. I just planted these 3 grapevines here within the season. I think I have Sunbelt here. What is it called? Yeah, this is Sunbelt, which is like a Concord grapevine. I think that one's a Concord. No, this one is, take that back.
And this is why I resort to using labels, because I know as time goes on, I'll forget what I planted.
The champagne seedless grapevine I planted here. Sorry, I've been busy with everything. And then this one here is another Concord, as you can see on the label that I put here. So I have 3 now clustered together, and hopefully they'll produce abundance. And I have my apple trees breaking dormancy, so you can see how spent they get after a while. The humidity is too much. You can see how well, this is a Dorset apple tree, it's doing very well. And here is my Macintosh, and it's growing exceedingly well. Mind the planters in the back, I'm going to fix that later. You can see how many tomatoes I lost to bugs, birds, whatever. So I just compost them in place. You can see like this one blushing here. I'm going to take it so it can ripen inside. Oh, you see that? Seems like a little bit blossom end rot. I might just compost it or cut it off, the bad part off. I don't know what I'll do with it. And I'm going to show you how much I got. I think more or less I'll give these tomatoes at least 1 more week, and that one just completely fell right off. So I knew it was more or less ripe. And this one here is blushing. I'm going to take it. They mature from the inside bottom out, from the inside out. So these are some more I'm going to put. I don't see anything else that I can harvest at the moment. These might be next. You can see how diseased they get after a while. Probably put something else here, but my grapevines are now budding out in May, so they'll be replacing the tomatoes, so intercropping them was a good idea. But you can see how much aphids I get from them, so I need to wipe them out. Normally I just wipe them. People use soap water or spray them. This is a muscadine, and this is,
So you can see the amount of aphids that attack the new growth. the ants put them there and the aphids will destroy the new growth.
That's normally how I deal with it. I only attack the ends. So that's what I do to remove the aphids. Not the best idea or practical. I don't want to spray. Not that it's not organic or anything, it's that when it rains it'll wash off any of the spray residue, so it kind of defeats the purpose. And I'm just going to let those compost in place.
I know it's best for me to invest in a polytunnel, but that is a project for another day. So I'm showing you an old clip I never got around to. This was actually in February or March that they started putting out a lot of tomatoes. You can see how healthy the plants are on early on. They did suffer a little bit from disease, but not too much. And this is actually the second harvest I got. So every 4 or 5 days, I was getting about a plateful of Roma tomatoes and some beef steaks as well. So you can see how well they're doing. Some had some disease issues, but that was never really a problem. Early on, I did lose 3 rows of tomatoes. They were the beef steak. They got some fungal disease on their stem, and I didn't want to risk it spreading to the other tomatoes I had here, so I pulled them out early on. But as you can see how well these beef steaks did early on, but they succumbed to disease and fungal pressure pretty quickly.
So this is the rosemary I have that I'll be using for the tincture. See, it's growing quite well. I just need the leaves, so I'll cut and propagate some more. Here's another one and another one, and I think this was a cutting one that is struggling a bit. And likewise here I have more rosemary growing. It is growing quite well here. That was a cutting I did within this year, and it's grown so well. And likewise here, if you don't know how to grow rosemary, all you do is plant it and neglect it, and it'll thrive on its own. I put it north facing and does best there, so half day, even 2 to 4 hours of direct sunlight is more than enough, and don't overwater it. And this is another rosemary that I picked up at the store.
So early on, I was struggling even to grow rosemary, and I just realized it does best when I neglect it, so it's quite an easy plant. So I am going to be making a tincture for hair regrowth. And with that comes this disclaimer that I am not a medical professional. And anytime you undergo a project like this, you should always consult with your medical professionals or doctors about the implications of taking any medicine or herbal remedies because you don't know how your body's going to react to it. So always consult with your doctor. Here, tinctures can be quite powerful and quite strong. There is a study which I'll post that does show that organic rosemary does cause hair regrowth with some few drops of application, and that's what I'm going to be doing here. So essentially, I am cutting some rosemaries, 2 different species that I know I have. So I'm going to de-leaf them, chop the leaves as thoroughly as possible. So maintain as much of the oil. I'm going to put it in this small jar, combine it with apple cider vinegar, and give it a good shake and stir it and leave it for 8 weeks. So for this experiment, I do have some clients lined up that are willing to experiment. So I'm going to give it a go. It has been proven to be an organic and stronger alternative to Rogaine. So having said that, I will give it a shot. Here I'm going to show you my blueberries. So my blueberry bushes did not produce, all but one, and that was the sunshine blueberry bush. I only got about 2 or 3 cups worth of blueberries, and that's more than enough that I need to make some blueberry scones from scratch. So it's the first year they produce, at least this one. So altogether, I got 2 to 2.5 cups worth of fresh blueberries from 1 year of growth from the Sunshine Blueberry High Bush variety. It does taste super sweet and super tart, so it's probably good for jams, but I'm going to give it a shot at making some scones. So I'll do a taste test on those pastries. But this blueberry bush is very susceptible to disease, and I got massive dieback as soon as it gave. I'm going to be harvesting some loquats and showing you how I preserve them. So come along, and I'll show you how I harvest and process some loquats. Loquats are the first fruit trees to start producing in early spring. They'll start ripening, so you better pick them fast before all the birds do, and they will clean your whole tree out, so you'll miss out on your harvest. So here I'm harvesting them. I'm going to show you how many I got, and it was a little bit too much, so I'm definitely going to be doing some jams and give them to some friends and family. And right next to this tree, I have a coconut tree, and there's so many coconuts on the floor that I need to process and make coconut flakes and coconut oil. But that's another project for another day.
As you can see right here, I have some loquats that are ripe, some that are unripe. They're not actually ripening all at once, and you can tell that once they begin to go bad like this, I'll start harvesting them. Last year I lost my loquat harvest to a bunch of grackles, but now I'll be able to harvest them. There's some ripe here, some ripe unripe, and there's some ripe over there. So they're not coming in all at once, but I'm going to start harvesting them so I don't lose them and start preserving them. I also need to process my coconuts, which they're all here. So I definitely need to get to that, make some coconut water. I have my colander and I'm going to be harvesting. This one here is pretty big actually. You can see hand comparison. As you can see, some are still not ripe. I'll leave those to ripen. And I also got a mosquito.
So I have this dragon fruit growing in a container, and it produced this baby yellow dragon fruit, so I'll get to taste it. So if you honestly think this is all the loquats I'm ever going to get this season, you are sorely mistaken, because I end up getting actually buckets full of loquats, as you can see here. And I got this tiny strawberry. I am not going to lie to you, it was quite a laborious process from harvesting and de-seeding all of the loquats and cut off any bad parts. And hopefully it'll pay off in the long run. And you can see all the extra leftover bits, the bad loquats, the seeds. And after a while, I'm just here cooking it down to do the jams. I will add a citrus in, probably an orange, to make it more of an orange citrus taste to it. And this is the water bath process for the loquat jam. So here is my carrot slash onion bed, which is totally neglected. I just planted it early in November and just neglected it. It does not have any irrigation. It is whenever it decides to rain during the dry season. And the carrots actually managed to produce decent size. You can see it how it separates into two separate directions. If it has compacted soil, it'll tend to do that. And with the leaves, I'll make some pestos. So I get a pretty decent carrot harvest from not even putting any irrigation on this bed. So if it's all rainwater, I got some actually decent sized carrots.
There's another big one. Find them. There's more smaller. I don't know what happened here. Wow, good color. Small one. This is the smallest one. This one did not form anything at all.
Well, at least now you know the results of not adding the irrigation to a raised bed. So always add irrigation to your raised beds. As you can see, the soil has really collapsed, and I have tons of weeds in here, as you can see, but the carrots still managed to produce. So I'm quite happy with that I got something.
Really good size one. I got baby carrot here. This falls from me. So this is my humble carrot harvest.
I actually recorded this clip in the middle of March. So March 15th or 16th about, you can see that they start turning color to a deep blue hue. This is the Pinot Noir. And by middle of May, so around May 16th, 15th, the whole cluster of grapes fell to the ground and they were completely ripe. And I tried them and they're super sweet, super delicious. This is the Pinot Noir, actually grapevine. They have seeds in them, but let me tell you, the taste was there. Is the Monroe avocado tree, and you can see that it is loaded with so many avocados. This avocado, the Monroe avocado, tends to be used for salads. It has a high oil content and it tastes absolutely amazing. And you can see how fast they're ripening even in spring. Normally you'll get the harvest in fall to winter. And it has been such a sunny, hot, dry spring that the fruit is ripening and putting on so much mass so fast that even I expect to harvest by winter and fall around there. But you can see that it might come sooner. And this is the Haas avocado tree. You can see more avocados. All those little green dots are avocados. They are forming quite well. The only menace I have to deal with avocados is dealing with the squirrels because there are a lot of oak trees nearby and they tend to go for the acorns. But when they're in season, they will demolish your avocado harvest. So I just trap the little critters. And you can see how many avocados the Haas avocado tree produces. And this is in spring, and you can see how much they're putting on. And you can see the size of fruit increasing and swelling pretty quickly. I do have a number of avocado trees, which I might end up just selling or giving away to friends. I don't know what I'll do with it. And you can see that the birds have no qualms with me being here at all. And this is a new addition to my garden, which is actually quite impressive. It's a macadamia nut tree. They are original from Australia. I think this is HRB. I want to get the King George variety as well, but this one is actually beginning to flower. And macadamia nuts cannot take any chill hours at all, so that's why they do well here in South Florida. But I'm going to try growing them.
So this thing is growing quite vigorous, and this is my yellow cacao. Put them in a bucket so I can take them with me.
And hopefully I'll make my own chocolate. This here is my fig section, and this fig is doing exceptionally well. It has vigorous growth. So I managed to harvest at least 3 Glen mangoes, and they taste absolutely amazing. And if you ask me how I harvest them, I just wait till they hit the ground and just fall off the tree because how overripe they are. So here I have the 2 Glen mangoes. I also have the seeds of the Pinot Noir that I ate. And I will probably be planting, so maybe I grow my own unique wine grape variety, and there's the passion fruit. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video of my first harvest for spring. The tomato plants are pretty spent, but this is how much I got already, so I'll be processing them sooner than later. See you guys in the next one.